Hey guys, welcome back to Miniature Game Montage and another painting for the average Joes. Today we're going to be painting up an Orc Commando in a very simple scheme, simple enough that anyone can paint it. And that's the point of these videos. These are more aimed at just your average Joe painter, certainly not your average pro. You will not win any competitions with this paint job, but you can still get them out on the table and play a game and have them look nice. As always, we're going to do this montage style, starting out with one of my favorites, Rust-Oleum Gray Primer. And in order to keep things simple, I will be using minimal paints today. Use whatever colors you have, they don't have to be exact to mine. To get started, we'll use a Vallejo Khaki. You can use any kind of tan or beige type of color. I'm going to paint his shirt as well as his pants. This will be one of the primary colors that we'll use on the model, and it's a reason we want to spray paint with gray as a primer, because this will show up a little lighter than if you use something dark. And work your way around the model, picking those out, and then we'll move on to the browns. And for the brown, I use Vallejo's Leather Brown, and I'm going to start working on a camouflage pattern on the pants, and just going around making some random lines and squiggles on the pants. This will be one of the camouflage colors that we will use. And I'm also going to use this opportunity to go ahead and block in the boots. He does have numerous straps along the shirt that I'm going to paint as well as the backpack. I'm going to go ahead and base coat that in brown as well. Now you will notice on this model in particular, he does have some pouches on his arms, but they don't have any straps, so those will be under the sleeves of his shirt. We want to be sure that we paint those khaki. And to limit the colors we're using, let's use Citadel's Waaagh Flesh, and we're going to work our way around the pants, again making those random lines, put some next to the brown, some in other places, just to give it the green part of the camo. And then we're also going to use that Waaagh Flesh to start working on the skin, Waaagh Flesh being part one of the holy trinity of Orc colors. And just like that, we are almost done with the base colors. We will need to get some silver down on his weapons, and be sure if you still have brown on your palette, go around and get the wraps of those weapons and anything else that you may have missed. Also a great point to tidy up anything you may have spilled over on. The next color I am using is Vallejo's Gunmetal Gray. Again, going around getting the weapons. This is also a good time to get those really small clasps and latches and things like that. In case you do spill over, very easy to tidy up at this phase, as we are purely working with our base colors. And let's not forget those teeth, as they're important to any orc. I'm using Vallejo Game Color Wolf Gray. Gonna dot those in along with the eyes, and using this color instead of a more yellowish color, just to keep the palette consistent and limited on the colors that we use. Next we have the average Joe's crutch. A good wash is Citadel's Agrax Earthshade. It is a brownish wash. We are going to cover the model with this, giving it a dirty appearance and toning down some of these colors that we will bring back out with some highlights. So go around your model, giving it a good wash of Agrax Earthshade. And when that has fully dried, let's go back to Waaagh Flesh, and we are going to go back over and leave the wash in the recesses and simply work on the more raised or predominant areas of the skin, bringing that back to life. We are also going to use this color to go back over some of those stripes that we made in the camo pattern on his pants, as the wash may have dulled them down significantly. Next up we have a Vallejo Beige Brown, and I'm going to go through and highlight all of the brown bits, everything that we did in Leather Brown. The boots, going to add some simple highlights to that, as well as the backpack, as well as put some lines on any straps and any kind of wrappings around weapons. And again, you want to pay attention to the higher parts, the folds in the cloth and things like that, leaving the wash in the recesses. And you can create your own or simulate your own folds in the way that light hits backpacks and things like that. Just by putting a few quick sharp lines on it, you can get some contrast of light reflecting off of the object. Okay, while everything dries, moving back to the flesh, let's use some Warboss green. And this time we are going over those areas, not going quite as far as we did with the Waaagh Flesh, again focusing on the highest areas on the model, and giving those a little bit of brighter color. Again, this is part 2 of kind of the holy trinity of orc colors between Waaagh Flesh, Warboss Green, and the highlight color Skarsnik Green. And it's really tough to go wrong here. Just start out at the top of the muscles, work your way down. We also want to get the fingers, trying to stay out of the recesses. And if you happen to mess up, it's super easy to fix. Just add some more wash to that crevice, and then you can resume painting again. Alright, back to Vallejo Khaki. Let's use this color to get some color back onto the shirt, brighten that back up a little bit more. And again, staying out of the recesses, we will want to drop the brush down to get some on the pants as well, as the wash would have really darkened the colors down. You don't have to fully cover the khaki area, because then there would be no point in doing the wash, but just kind of go over some random areas to give it some depth and some different colors. And with doing that, the skin should be dry to go back with Citadel's Skarsnik Green. This is our last highlight color to get the most prominent areas of the skin, such as the chin and the nose, eyebrows. You want to look at fingers, the points of ears, and anything where there's muscles where you really want to draw light to. Be sure you put a little bit of Skarsnik Green there, and it will really contrast well with the other colors. And if you happen to make a mistake at this stage in the game, just quickly whip your thumb across the model and get rid of that paint, and then you can just try it again. Okay, the next highlight color is Vallejo Iraqi Sand, and I will be using this to highlight the khaki colors on this shirt, giving that some additional definition, staying out of the recesses, going around getting those pockets that are underneath the sleeves, as well as the top of the shirt, and any folds in the cloth that you may see will hit with this color. Alright, for our gunmetal bits, I'm going to be using a natural steel and a dry brush method, so wiping the majority of the paint off on a paper towel. The brush is not wet, and I'm just going to go through and dry brush a lot of the metallics, giving them some highlights on the weapons, as well as any of the clasps and things like that. I will do those manually with a brush, but for a lot of this bigger stuff, just hit it with a dry brush of a lighter silver than what you used before. Okay, using whatever brown should you choose. Could be leather brown, it could be a burnt umber. I use burnt umber in my other orcs, so I do use that here, but it could be leather brown. Give that some water so it gets nice and consistent, a little watered down. Go around the base, filling all of that in, or whatever color base you would like to do. If you'd like to make a more astro granite type of base, then you would use a gray here. And the basing that I do, super easy. It is simply watered down PVA with some different sand and rock that I've gotten out of the yard. And then I will let that dry and go in with a second layer of PVA to lock it in place. Okay, and next I'm going to use a Mephiston Red. You can use any red that you want. I water this down significantly. I mean 4 to 5 drops of water for a tiny drop of paint. You can see it on my thumb here how thin it is. It is just very thin. I don't want this to take over the eye. I simply want it to get in the recesses and give it a little bit of red contrast. I still want a white eye to be showing. That's just me. A lot of people will paint their eyes red. No problem with that whatsoever. It's completely up to you. They are your orcs. If you do this method and you get too much red in the eye for your taste, just get the paint off of your brush, go back in with a dry brush, and it will suck that paint back out, and you can just try again, either watering down the paint further or trying something different. And if you still have Iraqi sand on your palette or whatever tan color you highlighted up to, I'm going to do a quick dry brush of that along the base, giving that some definition. A little heavy on the dry brush here, as I really want these rocks to catch a lot of this. And then I'm going to really wipe off the absolute majority of the paint on the paper towel. And I'm actually going to go over the model with this color as well. This is going to bring a lot of highlights to the brown bits, such as the backpack, but also gives the skin a very subtle highlight that will almost make it look like a dirty, dust-sworn, weathered kind of look. Again, being subtle on the skin, you can be more aggressive in other places, such as the pants, to really bring that camouflage color together. And with that done, the miniature is complete, and I will put on a tuft. This one I purchased from World War Scenics. I'll put a link in the description below for them. I really like their products. And for my orcs, I do base them with a black color. For that, I use Vallejo German Gray. But again, you can use whatever color you want. So this was the first Orc Commando that I painted, and I will probably do some variations, especially on the shirts, and maybe on the pants too, using browns, blacks, olive drab, things like that. The skin tones are pretty consistent among my Orc boys, and I'll typically do brown or black pants along with brown or black boots, and switch up the leather as well. But you can paint them however you like or whatever is appealing for you. And again, I know I'm not the best painter out there, but hopefully a newcomer will find this helpful, and it certainly means a lot over the last videos where people have posted that they have used my videos to paint a miniature. That makes things all worth it. Again, there's tons of channels out there that do painting much better than I do. I just find my way painting very simple, and it looks good on the tabletop for me, and hopefully it will for you too. So I would like to say thank you to the 2021 Coffee Supporters Club. Your names are up on the screen now. If you would like more information on that, you can check the description below. You will see this commando in a battle report coming soon. Thanks so much for watching.